you have a charger for it?
No, you have one. Hajj has one. Hajj has a charger. That was his job. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As I've announced, Sheikh Mikaeel became Muslim as a teenager in Buffalo, New York. There was a center, it was the Dar al-Ulum. It happened to be the Dar al-Ulum. So when he asked after his Shahada, they taught him how to make Salah, Wudu, Surah Al-Fatiha. He said, what's next as a Muslim? They said, you sign up for Hifz. 10 years later, he came out of the madrasa, mashallah, having completed his Hifz, study of Arabic grammar, mastery of Hanafite fiqh, Aqidah, and all of the ulum that go with the study of the deen. So he then taught and spent many years as an imam in a small-time masjid in Maryland. And then he is now teaching with Qalam Institute, which is a very well-known, reputable institute in Dallas. Okay? Alhamdulillah, we're able to bring him here. He's a good friend, and I think you'll really love this whole weekend. Inshallah, this is just going to be like basically a startup, and then tomorrow is more meat and potatoes. All right.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala Sayyidina wa Nabiyana wa Maulana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Allahumma inna nas'aluka hubbak wa hubba man yuhibbuk wa hubba amalin yuqarribuna ila hubbik ya Rabbil Alameen. Oh Allah, we ask you for your love. We ask you for the love of those people who love you. Oh Allah, we ask you for the love of those actions which will bring your love, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Oh Allah, we ask you for ilm and nafi', beneficial knowledge. We ask you for knowledge that will get us closer to you through understanding. So our intention in coming to these type of gatherings is to learn something that will increase our understanding of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will increase our connection and our closeness to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and through that gain some love of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and through that gain some love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This evening, inshallah, first and foremost, I want to extend Jazakallah khair, Ahsana Jaza to Safina Society and to the entire community for inviting me. Dr. Shadi is a great friend, and when my wife was asking me where I'm going this weekend, and I told her, she's like, oh, you're just going to go chill with your friend up there. She's like, you're not going to give lectures, you're going to go chill with your friend. Just call it that. Why are you acting like you're going to go give talks and teach and stuff? So alhamdulillah, what I want to talk first and foremost is that, first thing I want to share with you guys is you really have to understand the blessing of having scholars that can relate to you and understand the context and the text. The context within which they live, in the text itself, the Quran and the Sunnah. There are very, very, very few communities around the country who have scholars like Dr. Shadi that they can go to, who understand the context that we live in as American Muslims, number one. That is extremely important. There's a rule in fiqh that says, "Man jahila bi zamanihi fahuwa jahil." The one who is ignorant of the time in which they live, they are completely ignorant. So you have people who've mastered the tradition. They've mastered and learned the tradition under great scholars, and they have great amounts of knowledge. But what they lack, and it's no fault of theirs, what they lack is the understanding the context within which we live, and thus how to apply that knowledge which they have. And you guys are blessed with an amazing community and an amazing facility, subhanAllah. I mean, the size of this just alone is such a blessing, right? SubhanAllah, like such a blessing. And not only the size, because a lot of Muslim communities are so impressed with brick and mortar. They're so impressed with the size of a masjid, the size of a minaret. And the Prophet ﷺ in a hadith sahihah, he told us that there will come a time when the masjids will be very, very large and very beautiful, but they will be devoid of any guidance, any leaders. They won't have that. So مَنْ لَمْ يَشْكَرِ النَّاسِ لَمْ يَشْكَرِ اللَّهِ. Whoever isn't thankful to people. And today's khutbah was about what? I don't know if everyone was here for today's khutbah. I spoke about entitlement. right? Entitlement versus feeling the sense of indebtedness to Allah, right? And I think sometimes as a community member, you feel that I'm entitled to have an imam that understands the Sharia, a qari who knows all the recitations, and someone who can I'm entitled to that. You are not entitled to that. You are blessed to have it. The moment you think you're entitled for something, you won't be grateful for it. The moment you feel entitled for anything, you lose the ability to show gratitude for that thing. Because you say, what? Haqqi, it's my right. I'm supposed to have that. So to have a leader that understands the deen and have a imam who understands the religion and the context, that is a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can sleep at night because you know I can go to the masjid and go ask. And I have someone who understands where we're at and understands the deen. So that's the first thing I just wanted to share. You guys are a blessed community, and it's a blessing just to sit with you and discuss the Prophet ﷺ's deen and discuss something that may be of benefit for us, inshallah ta'ala. With that said, tonight's topic, inshallah ta'ala, is going to be based off of a very, very well-known hadith. And the hadith is that Rasul ﷺ, he said, in one hadith, that the example of my nation and the example of what I have been given is like the example of a group of people, istahamu ala safina, right? A group of people who drew lots to board onto a boat, a large vessel. It's a well-known hadith. So the Prophet ﷺ said they drew these lots, right? And when they drew the lots, some of them فَأَصَابَ أَعْلَى وَأَصَابَ بَعْضُهُمْ أَسْفَلَهَا. When they drew lots to board this ship, some of them, when they picked out their name, they were under the deck. And some of them, they got to sit in first class on top. Really comfortable. Fresh air, get to see everything, all of that. And the Prophet ﷺ said that as they were traveling, every time the people in the bottom of the ship needed some water, every time they needed to get some water, they had to go and yu'di man fawqahum. They had to go above, and they would have to bother. You know, like when you're flying and you got the window seat. Like today when I was coming, I had the window seat, and I really had to go to the bathroom. But you know how you don't want to bother people sometimes? No? You guys just like, get up, I gotta go. Am I the only one that feels that? I guess I am. Okay, khair, inshallah. So these people were like me, I guess, in that sense, that they didn't like to bother the people on the top deck. So they said to themselves that every time we need water, we have to make these people get up so that we can walk past. So they said, hey, why don't we do something? Why don't we just kharaqna kharqa, like why don't we just make a hole in the ship and just take water from right there? Now, the Prophet ﷺ, he says that وَإِنْ أَخَذُوا عَلَىٰ أَيْدِيهِمْ, if the people on the top who know what these people want to do, if they grab their hand and they stop them, نَجَوْا وَنَجَوْا جَمِيعًا, then they will be safe at the bottom and those on top will be safe as well. But وَإِنْ تَرَكُوهُ وَمَا أَرَادُوا, but if they just leave them, you do what you like. We're okay in first class. We don't care what happens down there. If they just leave them, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, هَلَكُوا وَهَلَكُوا جَمِيعًا. They will all be destroyed by the actions of these people. This hadith itself is one of the primary hadith which speak about a very important aspect of the deen, which is the concept of amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar, which is enjoining the good and stopping or prohibiting the evil. And so what I want to talk about, I want to go in tonight's halaqah, I want to go deeper into this concept, and I want us to get a deeper understanding and appreciation for this topic, but actually raise our level of understanding on how we go about doing this important aspect of the deen. First thing we need to understand is this, before we go forward. The first thing you need to understand is, as Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi rahimahullah explains, he says, the primary way by which evil comes into our lives is through disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the primary way through which good and khair comes into our lives is through the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created this world in a way that it's asbab, sabab and musabbab, a cause and effect. Allah has created us in a realm of cause and effect. And one of the things that He highlights in the Quran over and over again is that the effect of disobedience and sin is hardship. Hardship. The Imam read in Salah today, Man a'rada an dhikri fa inna lahu ma'ishatan danka. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again highlighting this cause and effect. That the one who turns away from my remembrance, this person gets a life of constrainment and depression and tightness inside. In another place, Allah says, كَأَنَّهُ, as if the person is going up into high altitudes, that their chest gets tight. Their chest gets tight. My point here for us to understand before we go forward is you have to understand how detrimental and harmful sins are and how much good obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brings into our life. Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, he says this is the primary thing we need to understand, that obedience and goodness brings khair, disobedience and ma'siyah brings shar and evil to you. First thing to understand, first and foremost. After that, we need to understand that the entire role of prophethood, the entire purpose of Allah sending prophets to nations is to correct their wrong and enjoin their good. To pull them away from that thing which is destructive for themselves, the sins and disobedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to encourage them towards those things which are beneficial for them. That is the entire purpose of prophethood. So the reason why this concept of Amr bil Ma'ruf, enjoining what is good and prohibiting what is evil, is such a pivotal and central aspect of the deen is because that is the entire purpose of prophethood. And those who understand that preserve the ethos of the society and preserve the community. It's very important for us to understand that how important it is for us to can maintain and encourage the good and keep people away from that which is evil, that which is harmful. And there are so many verses where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encourages us to do that and tells us that it is our responsibility. And unfortunately, we live in a time now, like I was, subhanAllah, can I tell you a story? So I went shopping for some new boots before I came to visit Dr. Shadi because he looks fly all the time, right? So I'm like, I told my wife, I can't go to Jersey with those old chappal jo hai wo man. Nah, I can't wear those chappals, man. Those slippers, I gotta come with some nice boots. So I just got those boots just to come visit you. So we were shopping for the boots, guys, and I tried them on. And I asked my wife, I said, how do they look? And she's like, right? So we're in Texas, which is like down south, okay? So this African American sister, she's working there. She's old auntie, right? She's like, girl, I'm not joking. This is how you better tell your mans he look good. Mans. And mans need to hear that they're like little boys. Mans like, she says mans. Mans like to hear that. They're like little boys. They want to be patted on. You bet. And she pulled my wife to the side and started giving her a halakha on how to treat me. And I'm like, yes. That's what's up. And so what my wife brought up to me is because we were talking about how, back 20 years ago, the community was a community in that down the street, I couldn't act up because I would get corrected by just the lady down the street. And we had this understanding of what was good in the community and what was not good in the community, and we collectively upheld that. But we're at a time now where it seems like the kids don't even play outside no more. It seems like, why are you correcting, in the masjid, why are you correcting my child? In the masjid. Who are you to tell my child to be quiet? Where we don't even in here share that same understanding of what is good and a communal understanding. So what I want us to understand is that we as a community have an understanding of what is ma'aruf, what is good. And the word ma'aruf, which means good, is also what's known, what's recognized. It's what's recognized. And the word munkar, which is evil, is that which is strange and that which isn't correct. But it will only be strange if we as a community keep it as strange. The moment we stop speaking upon it, the moment we stop saying anything, all of a sudden, we end up where the Prophet ﷺ said, the munkar becomes ma'ruf. And the ma'ruf becomes munkar. The thing which is strange becomes normal. And that which was supposed to be normal becomes the strange thing. So we have a collective responsibility to maintain that standard. And guess what? Even if you yourself don't hold up to everything, you owe it to our community to hold up those standards. So I want us to really understand what this role of Amr bil Ma'ruf. The Prophet ﷺ, he says that one group of the community will see another group of the community doing evil and they won't say anything. And the Prophet ﷺ said, they will wake up in the morning ala qulub wahid, ala qalbi wahid. That they will wake up in the morning and all the hearts have become one heart. Not good. Those who knew what was good have now lost that. Because they sat back and just let it go. They sat back and just let it go. They didn't correct it. They didn't speak on it. They didn't think that there was a haqq of Allah that has to be spoken on. And now that effect has come through the whole community. This is Amr bil Ma'ruf. This is Nahy anil Munkar. This is enjoining the good and this is prohibiting the evil. And this is why Islam values the community so much. And that auntie in the store, man, she was doing Amr bil Ma'ruf. That's what's up. But you see, like, in order for her to do that, she had to trust that my wife would accept that. She said, girl, let me talk to you. Let me talk to you. Did you understand the level of trust that has to be there in order for her to give that advice? Such personal issues too. And my wife loved it. She said, that's amazing. These sisters is real. That's beautiful. And then she said it was coming from an elder, so it felt like advice too. It felt like she was just sincerely caring about who I was. But khair. So today, what are we going to talk about? The thing is this. Although many of us have probably heard lectures about enjoining the good and prohibiting the evil, I feel that many of us have not actually studied how to actually do it. So today's halaqah is not going to be just one of kind of inspiration, but one of knowledge. Because I'm going to teach you, I'm going to take you step by step through Imam Ghazali rahimahullah's etiquettes for how to enjoin the good and how to prohibit the evil. Because Umar bin Abdul Aziz, he says, whoever acts without knowledge corrupts more than they fix. Whoever acts without knowledge corrupts more than they... Sometimes I'm in the kitchen cooking and my wife said, but jao, bago. Just get out of here. Go. And I'm like, I'm trying to make the... No. Because when you leave, it's going to be a mess. I'm trying to help. No. You don't know how to help. Just leave. You guys know? No? Never happened to y'all? Okay, cool. Wow, Shadi, you don't crack enough jokes, man. It's a tough crowd, bro. MashaAllah. Khair, inshallah. So, do you understand that example? Amr bin Abdul Aziz, he says, whoever acts without knowledge, they mess up more than they fix. So when we talk about Amr bin Ma'ruf, if you don't actually know how to do that, then that correction can actually be very detrimental. Very, very detrimental. You can cause deep emotional problems with the people you're trying to actually correct and cause more harm than benefit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going through Imam Ghazali's Ihya Ulumuddin, which is a gem. It has such beautiful lessons for us, and he actually goes through the etiquettes of how to correct wrongs, inshallah. Okay? And while I'm doing this, at any time, please ask a question. If you miss a point, ask me, can you repeat that one? If you want more explanation, then ask and we'll go through it inshallah. But khair inshallah. Let's begin inshallah. So, Ibn Qayyim al-Jawzi, Imam Ghazali rahimahullah ta'ala, he looks at this issue from different perspectives. He says the first perspective is about the one who's correcting the wrong. Okay? That's the first perspective. We're going to talk about the person who is actually doing the correcting, and what things need to be present in that person. Okay? First perspective. The very first thing, mashallah, brothers always got the best memory, yo. The brothers in every halaqah, they always have like this like memory, subhanallah. Right, sisters? You know what I'm talking about, brother, right? Huh? It's a trap? My brother's got great memories, man. MashaAllah. You go back home, bayan kis mawzu pe? Bas Amr bil Ma'ruf. That's it. You ask the sisters, what was it about? Like, this is it right here. MashaAllah. MashaAllah. Allah yuwaffiq. Allah yuwaffiq. Allah give you tawfiq. Brothers, MashaAllah. Alright, conditions. Conditions for the one who's correcting the wrong. You got phones, brothers. You can still take them out, inshallah. And number one, he says that first and foremost, the one correcting the wrong, for it to be obligatory for you to correct the wrong, this person must be what's called mukallif. Mukallif means legally responsible, meaning not a child. Not a child. Okay, mukallif is the first thing. The person has to, for a person to be binding on you to correct a wrong, binding by Sharia that you have to correct it, number one condition is that you yourself must be someone legally responsible. What do I mean by legally responsible? Do children pay zakat? No. Do children have to pay? Does someone with mental illness have to pray? Does someone with mental illness have to pay zakat? No. These are people that are not legally responsible. So the first thing for it to be binding on you is that you must be mukallaf, you must be legally responsible from the Sharia perspective. Number two, the next necessary aspect of the person correcting the wrong is that they must be Muslim. In order for it to be binding on them and for you to be held accountable before Allah, you must believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That doesn't mean a non-Muslim can't correct a wrong. We're speaking from the perspective of Sharia, that when does Sharia say that it's binding on you? When these conditions are found. Okay? So the person is legally responsible. The person is Muslim. And the next condition is the person has a generally upright character. Upright character. What he says here is that if you yourself are indulged in sin, you still have a responsibility to correct wrong. Listen closely. You still have a responsibility to correct wrong. Because if we made it a condition that only the person that has no sin start correcting wrong, no one's correcting anything. No one's correcting anything. So he says that even if you are a sinner, you have to still correct a wrong. But he says something very powerful, which he says that اعلم أن أمر الفاسق بالمعروف والنهي عن المنكر لا يفيد. He says when the person who's drenched in sin tries to encourage good and prohibit evil, لا يفيد. He says it doesn't do much. It doesn't have the weight behind it. It doesn't have as much kick and weight behind it. Okay? And then he continues with the next condition, which is that this is a very important one. Number 4? No? Number 4. Number 4. Brother, see his memory. MashaAllah. Kaunuhu qadir. He says, you have to know you actually have an ability to change that wrong. Now this goes back, that's number 4. The ability to actually change it. I'm going to break this one down. He says that, you know the hadith, Man ra'a minkum munkar, whoever sees a munkar, فَلْيُغَيِّرْهُ, let him change it. فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ, what is the hadith? فَبِيَدِي فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَبِلِسَانِي فَإِن لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَفِي قَلْبِي وَذَلِكَ أَضْعَفُ الْإِيمَانِ. The Rasul ﷺ, he said, whoever sees a wrong, let that person change it. If he cannot do so or she cannot do so, first try to change it physically. Then try to change it through your tongue, and the least of which is to hate it in your heart. Now, before I go forward, I want to stop and digress for a moment. Hating it in your heart is becoming difficult for your children. Please understand this. They are losing that ability to hate certain sins through desensitization and through the norms of society. And that is very dangerous for our faith. The lowest level is I see a wrong and I go, that is wrong and destructive for our society. And my Allah has told me that. But slowly, that even hating here is going away. In one hadith, a beautiful hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said that the one who witnesses a wrong but hates it in their heart, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward that person as someone who ghaba anha, was not even present. And the one who wasn't present but hears about a sin but misses it, man, I wish I was there last night. Oh, I heard it was lit. I wish I was there. Allah will give that person the reward as if they were present and they weren't even there, just because what the heart felt when it heard about it. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So one of the things we really must protect is that the heart stays sensitive to wrong and not desensitized from it. It stays sensitive. So here he breaks this one down. And this is very, very, very important section. So please listen closely. He says that this fourth one that you actually have the ability to change, he says he teaches it on 4 levels. Listen closely. If a person knows that the wrong will be removed by my statement or my words, then it is necessary for that, it's wajib for that person to remove that wrong. Example, your own small child, your own 12-year-old child, your own even maybe 13-year-old child, 14, 15. You know that my word or my action will stop this wrong. In that situation, what is the hukum? What's the hukum? It's wajib, meaning you must change it. Everyone with me? That's the first level. Second level, Imam Ghazali says, أن يعلم أن كلامه لا ينفع وأنه إن تكلم ضرب فيرتفع وجوب عنه. He says second level. You know that if I speak, it's not going to do any good. No good at all. I know, based on my experience, that my words in this situation will do nothing. Number one. And number two, if I do speak, there'll be physical harm to me. What does Imam Ghazali say in this condition? Saqata anka wujub. Sharia says you don't have to speak up on anything. See, I want you to learn. This is Amr bin Maruf, the rulings of it. You need to understand on a deeper level. People say, well, my cousin was doing this, and then, was I supposed to stop him? Well, listen closely, I'll tell you. Does everyone understand? So what's the second level? Yes. The first level? The first level is you know that the evil will be removed by your statement or words. In that case, and no repercussions. No repercussions at all. At all. In that case, you have to speak up. So, you know, your grandson, your son, you know, maybe not your brother, I don't know, right? Someone who you know, if I speak, it will stop it. Everyone understand? Level number 2, you know, if I say something, doesn't do anything. And not only that, if I say something, I might get physically hurt. Right? I might get physically hurt. What does Imam Ghazali here say? It's not wajib anymore. There is no obligation for you to correct this wrong anymore. Is everyone with me and understand? Any questions? Khair, inshallah. Level number 3. Ya'lam, you know, an inkar la yufid. You know your word won't do anything. You know I speak, it's not going to do anything. It's my brother. He's not going to listen to me. Right? However, I know nothing's going to happen to me either. There's no threat. It's not going to harm me. No harm is going to come to me whatsoever. What do you think it is here? Your turn. Wajib to correct it? So he says that it's mustahab to correct it. It's good to correct it so that you uphold the standards of the deen, but it's not wajib because it's bekar. There's no point. You know for sure. Remember, when we say no, you know. I know my brother's not going to listen to me right now. Not maybe he will. No, I know he's not going to listen to me. Everyone understand the situation? So he says it's not wajib. However, because you're upholding the standards of the deen, because you're reminding him of Islam and you're upholding that, it's still desirable for you and mustahab that you speak on that wrong. Okay, inshallah? All right, what number was that? Shh. Huh? We on 4 or that was 4? Okay, we're on 4, mashallah. When you sit in first row, brother, you're going to get it.
That's fine.
Okay. Don't be angry with me. You notice they kept the front row empty, right? Yes, exactly. This is 3 levels to the 4th or 5th one. Exactly. Great job. Okay. Next one. Number 4 situation. أَيَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ يُصَابُ بِمَكْرُوهٍ. You know there'll be some harm to you, but you can stop it. وَلَكِنْ يَبْتُلُ الْمُنْكَرْ بِفِعْلِهِ. I know I'm going to get some hardship. Something's going to come back at me, but I can still stop it. Like he says here, you break the bottle of alcohol. You just throw it down. Psh. You grab the thing out of his mouth. You know, he's doing some drugs or something. You snatch it away. You break it. But you know what's coming next. You know what's coming next. So he says, فَيَرْتَفِعْ you tell me. Your turn. Not you. Huh? Your turn, yeah. He says, there's no obligation on you. Number 1, no obligation. However, it's mustahab because the Prophet ﷺ in a hadith says, kalimatu haqq inda sultan ja'ir. The one who speaks truth in front of a tyrant. That's the best jihad. So it's not wajib. The deen, see how beautiful the deen is? The deen isn't saying you have to do it now. Risk your life. The deen is saying, nope, you don't have to do it. However, yes? So we're going to get to that right now, inshallah. So the question asked is what's next? And he says here, when we say you know, he says your ghalabat al-dhan. Your how would we translate that? The overwhelming likelihood. We don't know anything 100% sure, right? So he's saying the overwhelming likelihood is what we're considering here. Like, I'm very, very sure my words won't hurt. I'm very, very sure this guy's going to try to hit me if I do something, so on and so forth. Everyone understand? Cool. Now, the question that was asked here is, he says, وَنَعْنِي بِالْمَكْرُوهِ. What do we mean by repercussion? He says, ضَرْب أَوْ قَتَل. Physical harm. Physical harm or extreme emotional harm to you. Physical harm or a serious emotional harm. He says, as for sab wa shatam, an angry face and a gali, one curse word, why are you correcting me? He says, فَلَيْسَ بِعُذْرٍ عَلَى السُّكُوتِ. This is not an excuse to stay quiet. لِأَنَّ الْآمِرْ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ لَا بُدَّ أَنْ يَلْقَى ذَلِكَ. He says, physical harm, someone's going to hit you, someone's going to harm you physically, or emotional serious harm. Emotional pain hurts. We'll talk about that in tomorrow's workshop, emotional intelligence. Emotional pain can be very serious. In fact, emotional abuse can be worse than physical abuse. Far worse. Far worse. And the brother goes, I didn't touch her. What do you mean you didn't touch her? You destroyed her heart. That's even worse. That's zulm too. Anyways, he says, but if it's just a word someone says, who you think you are? Or someone getting angry at you, he says, no. This is normal. You have to put up with that. Does everyone understand? Everyone get this? Any questions? Yes, please.
Can I make a comment?
Please.
So yesterday
Where was this at work? Okay.
So we were just talking about upbringings, and then it escalated into religion, and it got to the point where he started bashing all religion.
Subhanallah.
So, in defense for that, I tried to include all the religions and talk about, because he was saying, maybe there is a God, but really, I tried to say, well, if you look at, in Islam, you have Prophet Muhammad, and when the message would be revealed, or what drew people to him was their character. The same thing with Jesus and with Moses and with all the prophets that came before him was their character. And then that was, of course, that was one thing that I was able to say. But then when the negativity came back, he was like, yeah, I know, but still the women and men, and it escalated to something completely different. At that point, I was like, yeah, okay, I just
back up. There's no benefit. That's a beautiful example. There's sometimes when people aren't in a receptive mood. And this is what I want you to learn from this is there's times where me and you have children, and when your child is most receptive and when they're not receptive. And you say something at a time, or I should do it the other way. Children know when their parents are in a receptive mood. They know when to ask you for something. They know when you're not receptive. So what Imam Ghazali here is teaching us is so beautiful because the Sharia doesn't put a burden on you for no reason. And if you know that there's absolutely no faida, no benefit, then the Sharia is like, no, back off. You don't have the necessity. You're not obliged by the Sharia to now speak up and correct that wrong. Khair, inshallah? Tayyib. Okay, now, any other questions about what we talked about so far? Because we're going to go on to the next part of it, inshallah. Okay, so, yes. Okay, so I'm going to come back to that when I talk about the levels of how you correct a wrong. Is that okay? Okay, all right, inshallah. Okay, now, the next thing is this. The next section in your notes or memory should be what types of wrongs can I correct? That's the next section. What types of wrong can I correct? So Imam Ghazali, he says, here are the conditions for the wrong that you're trying to correct. And this is a very important one for our communities. Very important, listen closely. He says, هو كل منكر موجود في الحال ظاهر للمحتسب بغير تجسس معلوم من كونه منكرا بغير اجتهاد فهذه أربعة شروط فلنبحث عنها. He says, number one condition is that كونه منكر. That thing has to be, number one, a wrong that is بغير اجتهاد. Has to be considered a wrong that is... So let me explain it this way. Bear with me. You all know we have different madhahib, right? We have different madhabs, right? And for the most part, the big things, there are things that are wrong according to everyone, right? Zina, khamar, there are things that are wrong to everyone. Agreed? There are some things that one madhab might say, this thing is munkar, not good to do. And another madhab may say, no, it's totally fine. Do you understand what I mean? Let me give an example. And we're not about to have a fiqh class here, okay? We are not about to open the door of fiqh here. I'm just giving an example. The Shafi'i, they eat everything from the ocean. Right? So at Red Lobster, they in there cracking it up, pulling out everything. Okay? The Hanafi, we don't really eat the lobsters and stuff. We say, no, it's only fish that you can eat from the ocean. The key here for correcting wrongs is you need to know conclusively, is that thing actually across the board wrong? That's the next one. You need to have knowledge to know, is that thing conclusively across the board wrong? You can't walk up to someone and start pulling the lobster from their plate and saying, what are you doing? And he's like, what are you doing? I'm eating lobster. And you like, that's haram. He's like, yo, please leave. No, it's not. Cracks open another claw, you know? So you need to know for sure. And what happens is many people come from a country that, see, fiqh is a geographical phenomena. Fiqh is naturally, before internet, is a geographical phenomena. A scholar moves to a place, all those people follow his madhab. A sahabi moves to India, and now everyone follows that sahabi. They weren't gonna, let me check another opinion on this issue. No, it's not possible. Abu Musa al-Ash'ari goes to Yemen, everyone's following Abu Musa al-Ash'ari. Ibn Mas'ud goes to Kufa, everyone follows in Kufa Ibn Mas'ud. Correct? Cool. So what happens is when people come here, they've only seen one Islam. And when Imam goes Allahu Akbar, when the Imam goes Allahu Akbar, they like, when the Imam goes Maliki Yawmiddin, now they really about to flip. I went in this masjid, they were reading some weird Quran. I ain't going there no more. You know what I'm saying? That person has little knowledge because they grew up in a place, they saw that as Islam, they come to America and see this melting pot of different cultures and different representations of the same deen, and now they're really having this crisis of self, of was I wrong the whole time? And they start changing and this and that and whatever, follow the Quran and Sunnah only and then whatever, right? Whatever. That's a whole different issue, whatever. The point being, I'm trying to say, is that you can't go around correcting wrongs that are not across the board wrongs. Now, I will add a caveat to that though. When I'm talking to my daughter or my family, then I ain't going with that. She's not telling me, well, this madhab says this. Because in this house, this is how we roll. Do you understand what I'm saying? Y'all didn't get that. Okay, so there's a norm in our house. There's a norm of, so if my daughter walks in, well, she's only 5 right now, okay, so I'm just saying, maybe one day, maybe I'm talking big before she actually like, you know, anyways. But she walks in with some red lobster and like, Dad, we cooking this today. I'm going, no, we not. No, get that out. Maybe when she grows up, she can do her own thing. But the point I'm trying to say is, I think a caveat there is within a community of close community, then you can correct those wrongs in the community when it's understood. Now, in a community as diverse as your community, as large as your community, no, go with the rule we just learned. Everyone understand the caveat I'm giving here? No? You don't agree?
You asking me?
Yes, I'm asking you. Because you don't seem convinced.
Yeah.
Do you understand why? It will be chaos in the house.
The thing is, I feel like it's a parental decision. I know people
For sure.
That, like the boy is growing his hair really long, doing braids and stuff, and it's an Indian family, and it looks very strange. But the dad says, "Hey, you have a valid opinion that allows you to do that." Meanwhile,
Yeah.
my dad, if you try to do anything,
But is that even a munkar though? Is any madhab say you can't have braids? Like,
well, imitation of the woman, for example.
oh, okay, that's a different, okay.
This boy was walking to do Umrah, and the police stopped him and told him, "We're going to cut your hair."
Really?
To the barber.
Subhanallah.
My brother did it. But the point is that his dad is okay with it. He told him, "I'm okay with it."
All right, so that's a family. Yeah, definitely. Understood. That's why I said me. In the lobster, that's how we roll. Everyone understand this one. This will save you a lot of trouble in the masjid. Does everyone understand? And it also raises your need to learn more. You have to learn more before you just assume a wrong. You have to. Imam Ghazali used to say that I see seldom people doing wrong because I know how diverse the opinions are. Meaning, when I see someone praying a certain way, then I'm not assuming automatically. I'll give you an example. You ever walk past someone and they praying and they catch eye contact with you? You know what I'm saying? You praying, you walk past and you lock eyes for a moment. Right? Like, what do I do right now? Do I say hi? Like, am I supposed to say hi to you? Like, hey, how you doing? Or do I look down? What do I do? Who knows the opinion of the Hanabila, Ahmed bin Hanbal, What does their madhab say on where you're supposed to look? Does anyone know? Straight ahead. Straight ahead. And he says at nothing though. You know when you wake up for Fajr, how you pray? Where do you look at Fajr time? Your eyes are open, you ain't looking at nothing. You know what I mean? He says you look straight ahead and at nothing. So you see someone looking around and you're like, man, she don't even know how to pray. They're following a correct opinion. You just raised yourself up right there, bam, through knowledge. You know what I'm saying? So you have to keep learning. You have to keep learning. You have to keep learning. Okay. The next thing about the wrong action is that the action has to be done publicly in order for you to be mandated to correct it. It's necessarily wrong. You know it's wrong. And it's happening publicly, meaning you don't have to spy to find out. You understand what I'm saying? If you have to go out of your way, that wasn't wajib upon you to even correct in the first place. That which is done in the closeness of the home is not necessary for you to correct, so long as that doesn't spill out. Yes?
What's the ruling on if you discover something private that was really bad? For example,
He says once it comes out of the home, that's not in the home anymore. Once it comes out, and that action is still going on, it needs to be corrected. It needs to be corrected. Now this happened with Umar bin Khattab though. Umar bin Khattab, he heard something going on inside someone's sahan, courtyard. So during his khilafah, he was khalifa, he heard, instruments playing, something's going on inside there, like they're getting down over there. Like, not in my khilafah, that don't go like that. So he jumped over. He jumped in. And when he addressed the man, he said, I'm doing wrong, but you're doing two wrongs. You're doing two wrongs. You're doing tajassus, spying on me, and you've come in without permission. And Umar bin Khattab backed up. He backed up, like, yes, you're right, I wasn't supposed to do this. So, what he says here, he says, أَن يَكُونَ ظَاهِرًا لِلْمُحْتَسِبِ بِغَيْرِ تَجَسُّسٍ. That for you, the thing is, this is for me, I need to know, when do I have to, by Allah, correct the wrong? This is what I'm teaching you. When is it obligatory, wajib on me to correct a wrong? When it's done openly in front of me. But I'm not obliged to go and correct things done in private. Do you understand the language we're saying here? It's about when it's wajib for me, necessary for me to correct the wrong. Does that make sense, inshallah? Yes.
So you said in terms of the home, what about cases of abuse? That when someone comes to file a formal complaint?
That's come out now.
Okay.
لا يحب الله جهر بالسوء إلا من ظلم. Allah does not like for us to openly talk about evil, except for people who have been oppressed. When you've been oppressed, you come out. The Prophet ﷺ, the hadith, someone was wronging someone, the Prophet ﷺ said, what was the hadith? Put your stuff on the lawn. So that when people walk past, they say, what happened? Why is your stuff in front of your house? Because this person is wronging me. That's not in the house anymore, that's out. So when the community finds out about abuse, he was trying to keep quiet and hidden, when that comes out, we need to correct that. That has to be corrected. It is wajib for us to correct that collectively. That is our responsibility to correct. Okay. So then he says, yes, he says the next thing is this. أن يكون المنكر في الحال. I think I may have mentioned this, that it's happening right now. He says, like, if the action is happening right now, you have to correct it. And if you know it's about to happen, you have to correct it. But if it's just maybe it might happen in the future, that's just su'ad dhan or bad suspicion, and we're not supposed to have suspicion. So if it's happening now, or you know, based on circumstantial things that is about to happen, you have to correct that thing. Okay? Okay. All right. Okay, we're good on time, inshallah? طيب, alhamdulillah. Okay, now we want to talk about the methods for correcting evils and the levels of correcting evils. The method and the levels and the methodology for going about correcting evils. Meaning the scale to what you do first, second, third, fourth. What are the scales to that from the Islamic perspective? Okay? Now, yes? Well, there's no stopping an evil if it's done already. So we're specifically talking about stopping an evil. You get what I'm saying? So the person, it happened already. Of course, we're going to address that, but you won't call that stopping an evil because it's not present right now. Yes, we will still address something that happened in the past to make sure it doesn't happen in the future or something like that. But we're talking right now specifically about when is it necessary for me to stand up and stop something. And that's when it's happening right now or about to happen. Okay? Someone was drinking and driving. Just give an example, right? Then while they're about to do that, you got to stop it right there. They did it yesterday. Well, it was yesterday. What can I do right now about that particular action? That's all. Okay. Okay, Imam Ghazali here, he gives us around 8 levels of action that will be taken. Okay? Now, first thing you need to understand, in Islam, there is no vigilantism in Islam. Okay? Without a khalifa or a government, there are certain things that can't be corrected with force. Understand that. All right, so obviously if there was a khalifa, if there was a qazi, then some of these would fall under the executive branch of that government, right? So what he says here is there are 8 levels. The highest levels I'm going to give you don't even apply to us because we don't live in that type of theocracy, you could say. Do you understand what I mean? Okay, let me give all the examples. You'll know exactly what I mean. Level number 1 is explanation. Explaining to the person the wrong that they're doing. I'm going to go through each one, but I'm going to give you all of them right now. Number 1 is explaining the wrong. Number 2, gently. No. It won't work.
It doesn't have a thing.
No, it doesn't.
Have a computer?
Okay. Okay. Number 2 was telling the person to stop. So 1 is explanation. You tell your child, son, that thing is not allowed. That's bad. You just explain to them. Number 1. Number 2. Number 2 is an-nahy. Okay, stop. Stop it. You admonish the person and advise them. So you talk to them. No, you have to stop this. You have to stop this. You can't do this. Next, number 5, using harsh language within the bounds of Sharia. Harsh language within Sharia, though, obviously. You can't now do haram to correct the wrong, right? So strong, harsh words. You show your anger without going outside of the bounds of Sharia. What number? 5. Physically changing the wrong. So you grab that thing, you break it. You grab that thing, you take it away. You grab the keys to the car. You physically now use your hand to stop that thing. Number 6. Oh. Huh? Okay, so next one. Warning of physical punishment. Now this is where it's not vigilantism. This doesn't apply to us, but I'm just teaching you all of it. Okay, we don't do this. Warning of physical punishment, and the next one is physical punishment. All right, and again, this is not in those last 2. Imam Ghazali, he says that if there's no Khalifa, Sultan, Imam, you don't even get into that because you don't have jurisdiction to actually give someone corporal punishment or anything like that. You don't have that. Now, let me explain each of these levels, okay? The first level is the explanation. And what he says here is you have to understand that many times out of ignorance a person is involved in a certain action that's wrong. So we automatically assume that they must know, so we jump to level 2 and 3. And all you had to do is just explain to that person that this thing was wrong. Do you understand what I mean by that? And so he says that's the first level, which is this just explanation of that. He says for many people, إِذَا عَرَفَ أَقْلَعَ عَنْ Aqla'an. He says many people, when they just know, they'll stop. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't even know we weren't supposed to do that. Okay, and they stop right after that. Okay? He says though about this one, listen closely. فَإِذَا كَانَ التَّعْرِيفُ كَشْفًا لِلْأَوْرَى مُؤْذِيًا لِلْقَلْبِ فَلَا بُدَّ أَنْ يُعَالِجَ دَفْعَهُ أَذَا بِلُطْفِ الرِّفْقِ. He says, because when you're explaining to people, you're exposing them to their ignorance, you must make sure this level happens with a lot of gentleness and care. This level of explaining, when you tell someone you didn't know, you're exposing their ignorance. He says, exposing kashfi, he says, kashf of this is more embarrassing sometimes than kashf of awra. He's like, this is very embarrassing. This is hard for people to deal with many times. So you have to be extremely gentle and extremely careful about how you go about explaining that wrong to the person. Okay? Okay, khair inshallah. Next one, which was telling them to stop, and included in this kind of, actually guys, is the admonishment and advice. He says, this one, also kullu dharika bi shafqatin wa lutfin. He says, this one also has to be done with gentleness and with love. Min ghayri anaf wa ghadab. Here's the deal. This is very important. Please listen, mark this down. You must have love for the person you're trying to guide. If you don't truly love that person and you care more about just getting your message across, then you may do more harm than good. Think of it this way. If it was your mother stuck in that thing, how would you explain it to her? Would you just drop the haqq on her? Mom, I told you, now you do what you want to do. No. You want her to actually take that in. So the key ingredient with this advice is the person you're talking to must feel true love from you. That's why my wife, I told you, oh, she's like, girl, your man's gotta. She said, I felt love from her. And she's telling her how to compliment her husband, and she's so willing to take it. If you came late, you have no idea what I'm talking about. It was a joke from earlier. It's all good. Like, what is he talking about? But she felt love from that woman. That's why she was so willing to accept such personal advice. Because it was out of love for that person. So the key thing that I find the problem is, people are more concerned with dropping the haqq than getting the haqq through to a person's mind and heart. And if you truly cared about the person, you would find the most strategic way to place that message in their heart. The most strategic way. And that's how the Prophet ﷺ did it. He found the most strategic way to place a message in someone's heart. Okay. He says, Subhanallah. بَلْ يَنْظُرْ إِلَيْهِ نَظَرَ رَاحِمْ لَهُ. You look at this person with mercy and love. You have to have that feeling inside. And another thing here too, I'm going to add something that Imam Ghazali doesn't put here. Imam Shafi says, whoever corrects a person publicly has not corrected them, but rather humiliated them. And whoever corrects a person silently and quietly has given nasiha, given true advice. So we all understand, if that advice comes to me in front of everyone, that's what am I going to do? Everyone's looking at me right now. But if you came to me quietly and secretly, Imam Shafi says that's nasiha, not the loud, not in public telling someone, what are you doing? That's just humiliation of people. Okay. Khair, inshallah. And then he talks about sometimes people want to correct people publicly. And he says in reality, you just got a dirty heart. You just got issues in your heart. Those who are just concerned with openly correcting people and publicly correcting wrongs of individual people, you just like to feel over people. You get joy out of making someone feel bad, and you have issues in your heart you really need to take care of. You really need to go to someone and get that corrected. Okay. He goes on the next one about harsh words. Harsh words. He says when Ibrahim spoke to his people, he said, "Uffil lakum wa lima ta'buduna min dunillah." Uffil lakum is like it's a harsh word. It's using more force. So when Ibrahim was after explaining to them, after talking to them gently, he's like, "Uffil lakum," like, what's wrong with you guys? What's going on? Stop this. And he's getting harsher with his statement. So he's saying that it's necessary for you to now go to the next level. You are a bit more harsher. You emphasize more. But he says again, one second, Afwan. Remember not to break the bounds of Sharia though. Okay, now you're getting serious with your brother. You're getting more. You already explained to Baijan. You already gave him nasiha. You sent a bayan to him for a YouTube talk. And now you're actually talking to him. And you're like, bro, you got to stop this now. He says, don't go beyond Sharia though. As you get harsh, you have to stay within the means of Sharia as you become harsh and speak to him in this way. Next one. Changing it physically with your hand. Physically changing it with your hand. He says like breaking the bottle of sharab. Breaking something that is just, they're using haram. You just break it. Nope, I'm breaking it. No, get it out. He says, you know what's better though? Listen, this is beautiful. He says, what's even better is you don't break it, but you make them break it. You get them. And my mom used to do this to me, right? Like she was punishment or something. No, you break it. Like, me? No, you break it. You break it. I can't break it. No, you're going to break it. I got to break it. So he says it's better that instead of you breaking it, instead of you pushing them out, you say, no, you get up, you walk out. Get up, walk out of here. He's like, you making them leave somewhere haram, or you making them go to the masjid. He says, don't drag him. Make him stand up and you walk. Our mom used to use all this all the time. She knew it was more effective if I did it than if she made me do it. Everyone understand? Okay. So the last one, the higher levels, are to warn someone of physical punishment. Like, if you don't do this, then I'm going to give you a spanking or something. I don't know. I don't know y'all's thing on the issue. I know that's a touchy issue. Everyone's all, you don't hit kids, you hit kids, whatever. So I don't touch the issue. I know what my mom did to me, and I was okay. That's all I'm going to say. You can have your perspectives. I respect that. But it was good for me. Alhamdulillah. Anyways, but I know there's different pedagogical thoughts and ideas now regarding that, so I'll respect that. But he says this is not for us. This is for, like, as I said before, guys, when there's like actual, like a government or something like that. This is the end for us. This is the end. There's no more we can do in a wrong in these cases. All right, brothers and sisters, there's just one more thing he says. There are three general, if you want to summarize, he says there are three general things that need to be in the person who's correcting. It's kind of a summary, but it's good. He summarizes it. He says knowledge, piety, and good character. These three things have to be in the one that's offering the correction. Knowledge, and we already explained that. Piety, so that you're doing it for the right reason. And number three is good akhlaq. That akhlaq is what will actually get the message across, inshallah. Khair, brothers and sisters, this was the content I wanted to cover with you, and I want us to understand how important correcting wrongs is. Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar, how essential it is to our deen. But remember the statement I started today. Whoever does action without knowledge, Umar bin Abdul Aziz says, Man amila bi ghayri ilm afsada akthara mimma yuslih. The one who acts without knowledge will mess up more than they actually fix. So I want to open up the floor for questions and comments at this time, inshallah ta'ala. Yes?
Now, what if someone comes to you and publicly says, you know, XYZ is happening at home, and it keeps, like, what happens if the action keeps on happening?
I think we have authorities now, and we have institutions that exist in our country that you call, and don't come to the masjid. Many times masjid is not going to be able to take care of that problem. We need to go to a professional and get serious help for those issues. Abuse is a crime. You don't come to the imam for abuse. You know what I'm saying? Serious abuse needs to be taken to authorities and handled the correct way. You know what I'm saying? I think we need to go the pathways that other people go when they really want to correct these wrongs. That's how I would go at that. These are not things that we just come in the imam's office and talk about. When there's serious abuse happening, then we need authorities, that we need action to take place.
Just to comment on that, there was a program yesterday about abuse. So, like, there was an attorney, so I think we commissioned.
That's beautiful.
Sheikh Shadi gave, like, the Islamic.
Oh, that was yesterday.
Yeah,
Oh, mashallah. Okay, mashallah.
One of the things he said was...
Oh, you're right there. I was looking for you. I was like,
one of the things he said was that also that they don't take abuse from the past. They take an abuse that just
Subhanallah,
happened.
subhanallah. We just talked about that.
You can report the past as a prior, but they won't even take you as a plaintiff or whatever if the abuse wasn't present.
You see? That's what we just covered, Imam Ghazali. Subhanallah. Yes?
Speaking of a pattern of wrongs which have been covered up. Now, I understand that the act has to be current. But let's say there has been a pattern which is set in and it's starting to impact the ummah. So additional cover-up continues. How then will it be handled?
I think that pattern, something that has a pattern, should be treated like the one that's actually happening right now. That's how I would treat that one. Because of the likelihood of it happening again is just like that person addicted to alcohol. We know what's going to happen tomorrow. I know what he's going to do. So I'm treating it like it's happening right now.
But let's say there is an involvement among several different people in the community where there is a cover, like there is the blue wall silence with police officers. So they maintain this pattern of acts of abuse.
Yeah, that's wrong. I mean, it has to be addressed. I don't know the exact course of action we would take, but that thing has to be brought out. That has to be exposed, and it has to be, the dhulm has to be, oppression has to be removed. We stand up for justice, and that we need to be standing up for justice no matter where it is, even if it's against our own selves. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, what is it? No, not that one. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. Yes, but before that, you gotta go back now. Kunu qawamina bil qist. Stand up for justice. Walau ala anfusikum. Even if it's against yourself. So, yeah, there's many different, it happens in police, it happens different places, but we need people to have courage to speak out. We need environments where people can actually report those things. Wallahu alam. Allah knows best. I don't know what will be the course. You want to comment on that, Dr. Shadi?
That comment was about, what was this, which angle was this?
When there's a wrong happening, and you have groups of people covering up, keeping it quiet, things like that. Like, how do you address those wrongs? And I was like, you just got to expose those things.
If a person was to have knowledge that they're covering it up,
Yeah.
then that wrong is equally as bad as
Exactly.
But here's the thing, though. If you, like you said, you need to have certain knowledge.
And that may necessitate that we go outside of the community too. That may necessitate that I go outside of this circle of people covering. I go somewhere else. Say, this is what's going on over here. We need your help out here to correct this wrong right here. Any other questions? Allah make it easy. It's very difficult. Allah make it easy. Yes?
Just one clarification on one question. When you mentioned the person who has mental illness doesn't need to pray, I don't think you meant all enough.
Yes, of course not.
You mean insanity.
Yes. There are levels, definitely. The Khalil Center is doing a lot of research regarding what is considered mukallaf or legally responsible and not legally responsible from the mental health perspective. So all slight mental illnesses, of course, would not absolve you of legal responsibility. So jazakallah khair, afwan.
And the question was the same thing to Jesus, like he was without sin, thrown first stone.
Yeah, so Imam Ghazali here says that there is no condition that a person has to be ma'soom or completely free in order to correct wrongs. No, he does say that you should not correct the wrong that you are currently stuck in. But he says a person who has faults here, you should correct other wrongs. There is no reason that you should not speak on other wrongs. If I know I'm doing wrong, that doesn't mean I'm not going to work to create a community that doesn't have those wrongs as well. So Imam Ghazali said specifically that the condition that a person has to have no sin or not have anything wrong before they can correct a wrong is a misnomer. That's wrong. That itself is wrong. We need to correct wrongs regardless of our state. But he does say something which was interesting, which was when you are known to be an open sinner, then your words may not have as much effect. They may not have that power to the person listening to them.
So one of the quandaries that came upon, and I didn't really have an answer to, was what happens when you accidentally see the private business of someone else, and you know that private business of someone else that they're engaged in would harm a third party.
Oh, subhanAllah.
So now there's sort of
But you didn't do tajassus.
Huh?
You didn't spy.
No, for example, someone says to me here, give me my computer, right? You take their computer, you open it, you find that they're actually
Doing something.
she's talking to another guy,
Mm.
and she's married, right?
But you gotta read close to get all that. I mean,
Yeah, well, sometimes that happens.
you gotta be like, you scrolling, bro. This man, you scrolling. Then I need another example because he's scrolling there.
That's a hypothetical. Well, you see one thing, and you're like, wait a second, why is this guy?
Okay, she says I love you, so he's like, oh, okay, what's going on?
You're like, so here in this case, this is inadmissible to you, right? It's inadmissible evidence.
Yes.
However, you are certain that she's about to fall into a trap, and she's going to lead others into a trap. You see what I'm saying? You recognize this is inadmissible. Like technically, I never saw this.
I would privately talk to these people.
Huh?
I think you got to privately address
But
that.
when you privately address it, it explodes. Right?
It's gonna explode.
Yeah, it's gonna. That's. I feel that once knowledge has come out, see what Imam Ghazali highlights is you don't search for stuff, but if it comes out, it's out. Now you have to treat that as information that's out now. Allah give us tawfiq. It's a very tough topic. I'm happy that we have so many people here. I'm happy that we're able to discuss this topic in more detail and because here we have wrongs happening in the community and we don't know the Islamic way to approach it. We don't even know, we have no idea how to approach issues from the Islamic perspective. So by going through this, you can at least say, wait, I've studied a bit of what Imam Ghazali says about wrongs and how you go about them. So I have some basis of Islamic approach to that. So that was one of my intentions in doing this. So Allah give us tawfiq. Huh?
Is there any aspect of, of course there is.
Can you come sit up here, doctor? Doctor? Go ahead.
If you're being wronged by someone else, there's an aspect of being patient in this. Do you immediately jump to going to the police, going to the government, or do you
So when you say being wronged, it's such a spectrum. There's such a vast what that can apply to. And I think some people can go too far in allowing themselves to be abused, and under the pretext of forbearance or patience, and I'm being rewarded. I just remember Arabic saying, "Don't be so sweet that people swallow you up. Don't be so bitter that people spit you out." I think you put up with a bit. The Prophet ﷺ would put up. He was forbearant. Any wrongs did against himself, he would forgive those. But he, at the same time, a wrong done against someone else, he had no patience for that. You wrong someone else, immediately. The issue here is when we start telling people to be patient with wrongs done against themselves, that information is translated the wrong way, and the abuser themselves starts using that. The person doing the abuse starts telling you, you gotta have patience with me. I'm getting better. What?
I'm possessed.
Yeah, whatever. Like, that's shaitan right there, man. Have patience with me.
At what point can a person...
So just a conclusive, like, I'm very, very iffy about telling people to be patient with wrongs done against them, because that can go too far sometimes. And sometimes you need to speak up. You know what I'm saying? You need to speak up. Personally. No?
Good company that should resolve the issue. Talk about playback.
SubhanAllah.
At what point can a
SubhanAllah.
person, if they're being harmed, and they're harm to the deen of you or your family, for example, and they're saying things that really bother you in the deen, can you decide to not talk to them again? Not answer
Abadan.
calls, block them?
Forever?
Like, what, until they change?
Well, we know the hadith says فوق الثلاثة is not allowed.
But if a person, for example, is bringing bid'ah, is bringing hardcore, he's not smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, no, I understand.
He's gone astray, and he's going to cause me and my family to go astray. He's going to bother us and continue to bother us.
Completely cut off
I
contact.
can't, not completely cut off, just not talk to me.
Yes, out of a...
Like, no one, it's not anyone's haq to be able to reach my cell phone, for example. I can block who I want. It's not his haq. It's not his haq to enter my house.
True.
Right? It's not my duty to go to his house.
That's true.
So,
But when a person says that I'm not talking to you anymore, then that, from what I understand, falls under the category of hijr al-Muslim, like cutting off a person.
well, what if you believe what they say even puts them out of Islam?
I mean, I don't know. Wallahu alam.
I mean, you have a lot of cases like that.
No, I know it's very, very kathir al-wuqu'. Kathir al-wuqu'.
This is sort of a norm in every family, I think. Like, you got people, literally, I don't even know if this person's a Muslim.
Yeah, no, there was a similar situation we dealt with if they keep letting that cousin come over, he's actually spreading poison amongst the other little youth. So I think in that situation, best judgment is there's a harm coming from that person's presence. There's a harm coming. So I think we all understand what to do in that situation. Yes.
On that note too, what if within the family, you try to preach good, there's family who's lazy.
Yeah.
They want to listen and receive good.
Mm.
And when you do preach good, they respond terribly. And it's sinful.
So that goes back to what we said before. The first thing, when you know there's no benefit in what you're saying, I think in those places you just... You know what I'm saying?
What if it's, for example, something that's obligatory, like prayer?
This is all about obligatory stuff. This is all about obligatory and haram stuff. Definitely, this whole topic was about Amr bil Ma'ruf. Guys, we got to go pray. Right? Or let's stop doing this. So this is exactly what we're talking about. If you know there's no benefit, then وَذَلِكَ أَذَفُ الْإِيمَانِ, you just, in your heart, you're like, yo, astaghfirullah. You know what I'm saying? Because there's no benefit. وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ, man. You're just causing fitna, you know what I mean? So that's why I think this is a very practical lesson, man. Allah musta'an, yo. Allah musta'an, Allah musta'an.
We have a question here.
Yes.
Like, okay, you said when you know they're in private and you know they're doing something wrong and you see the effects of their wrongness, right? How do you go about talking to them?
No. When you say it's in private, does this mean... So in my house is private, but to my wife, what goes on in my house is not private to her.
It's not in your house.
Oh, okay.
Say it's a brother or a sister or a friend,
Yes.
okay, and you know they're doing something wrong, and it's harming them.
Yes.
You see the effects daily,
Yeah, for sure.
physically and everything. You don't see it physically,
I see what you're saying.
know,
Yeah.
okay?
Like drug usage, for example.
Exactly. So, is it,
I'm treating that like I see it happening.
you see it
I'm
happen,
calling the people that need to be called. But see, the thing with drug usage, though, let's be real. Unless a person wants to drop drug usage, you can't do anything. They can walk out of rehab. You can't do anything to a person who does not want to stop drugs. There is nothing you can do. You can't call the police. They don't have it on them. You can't put them in jail. Literally, we're dealing with a case right now. I mean, there's nothing we can do. Until that person truly decides that they want to make that change, drug usage is a very difficult one. Very difficult. So even if you yell at them, if you scream at them, what are you going to do at the end if this person does not want to stop using drugs?
but is it okay to talk to them about it?
Yeah, you stop giving them money, first of all. I know some parents still keep giving them money. Why are you still giving them money? Like, take these steps, do what you have to do to at least, so you're not aiding to that thing. So definitely you use every means possible, but there's only a certain limit we can go up to. But we have to use everything possible to kind of, some things they have to see the effect of drugs. They really need to see what that ends up. You need to take them downtown and let them see this is where you end up. They got to see that. And perhaps that will wake them up. But drugs is an epidemic in the Muslim community, big time. Every community I go to, they're like, can you please talk about drugs? From Houston to Dallas to Jersey, every single community. Drug usage. No stop.
But you know the thing is, I feel like when someone is doing something like that, it overpowers them. And maybe they want to do it, but there's that itch.
Yep.
You know, like for example, I know someone who was taking cocaine. Okay, and because there were problems that were going on, and then it resulted to that, smoking, and then his friend was like, well, here, try this.
Yep.
Cocaine, ecstasy, all of that. So then it resulted in his wife losing.
SubhanAllah.
He cut off his friends, and that's just what you do here. You're surrounding yourself around these people. And he would go into rehab and come out.
Yep.
And then fall into the same circle. You know, there's nothing that we could do to stop that from happening because it's in his blood. And when you want to do it, you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to that gym, so I'm gonna go.
Yep.
You know, but it has to be within. You know, so for him, he was like, okay, well, I need to stop because my wife's left me. This is harming myself. This is harming everyone around me. And for him, you know, he was taking smaller doses until he cleared himself. You know,
Oh, mashallah.
it's very hard.
Did he get over it?
Yeah.
Mashallah.
Like, not me, but smoking. You know, so you have to. It's one or the other. You know, would you rather take cocaine or smoke a cigarette?
Yeah,
And
subhanAllah.
you just pray for that person that I feel like at the end of the day, and this also works with like physical and emotional abuse, pray to always,
SubhanAllah.
Allah knows that.
Hmm.
I can't physically help you or anyone can physically help you, pray to Allah knows
Jazakallah khair. Jazakallah khair. Khair, inshallah. طيب, let's make a short dua, inshallah ta'ala. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah, Allahumma laka alhamdu kullu wa laka shukru kullu wa ilayka arju al-amru kullu wa ananita wa sirru. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. ربنا اصرف عنا عذاب جهنم إن عذابها كان غراما إنها ساءت مستقرا ومقاما. Ya Allah, we ask you to accept our gathering here today, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you to clean our hearts, Ya Allah, and give us closeness to you and your beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the day of judgment, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, we ask you to give us your love, Ya Allah. Give us the love of those who love you and give us the love of those actions that will bring us close to you, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, those of us who are stuck in sins, Ya Allah, that we can't rid ourselves from, Ya Allah, we ask you, Ya Allah, make it easy for us, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make it easy for us, Ya Allah. Those of our family members and friends that we know that are stuck in different difficulties and sins, Ya Allah, we ask you to alleviate it for them, Ya Rabbil Alameen, and make it easy for them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make it easy for them, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, make it easy for them, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Allah, whatever we have learned here today, Ya Allah, we ask you to let it stick in our hearts and make it a means by which we interact with the creation, Ya Allah. Make it a means of change for ourselves and make it a means of change for others that are around us as well, Ya Rabbil Alameen. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة أما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.